Ethan Carter had dreamed of studying at Harvard University since he was a child. Now, as a second-year student living in one of the university's oldest dormitories, he spent most of his days buried in textbooks and late-night coffee runs. One rainy October evening, a power outage swept through part of the building. With no internet and little light, Ethan wandered the dim hallways carrying a flashlight. As he walked down a rarely used corridor in the basement, he noticed something strange. One section of the brick wall looked different. The mortar was newer than the surrounding stone. Curious, he pushed against it. To his surprise, part of the wall shifted inward with a soft click. A hidden door. His heart raced. The opening revealed a narrow staircase descending into darkness. The air smelled old, as though it had been sealed for decades. Against every sensible instinct, Ethan stepped inside. At the bottom of the stairs, he discovered a large underground room illuminated by dusty brass lamps. Shelves lined the walls, packed with books that didn't appear in any Harvard catalog. In the center stood a massive oak table covered with handwritten journals. One journal lay open. The first page read, "For members of the Veritas Circle only." Ethan had never heard of such a group. As thunder echoed outside, he turned the page. The journal described a secret society founded in 1897 by students who believed the university was hiding knowledge too dangerous for public study. Most of the entries sounded like legends, until Ethan reached the final page. Written in fresh ink were 3 words. Someone returned today. The date was yesterday. And suddenly, from somewhere deeper in the underground complex, Ethan heard footsteps. Part 2. The Veritas Circle. Ethan froze. The footsteps grew louder. Quickly, he extinguished his flashlight and hid behind one of the bookshelves. A figure entered the room. The stranger wore a dark coat and carried a lantern. He appeared to be in his 60s, with silver hair and a calm expression. The man walked directly to the journal. Then he spoke. "I know you're here." Ethan's stomach dropped. Slowly, he stepped out from hiding. Instead of anger, the man smiled. "My name is Professor Alden," he said. "I've been waiting for someone to find this place." The professor explained that the Veritas Circle had once consisted of brilliant students and faculty members who investigated unusual discoveries hidden throughout history. During the 1940s, the society vanished. Most believed it had dissolved. But according to Alden, its members had uncovered something extraordinary beneath the university, something they called the archive. "The room you found is only the entrance," Alden said. He led Ethan through a hidden passage behind the shelves. Beyond it stretched a maze of tunnels carved into ancient stone. At the end stood a steel door covered in symbols. Alden unlocked it with an old brass key. Inside was a chamber filled with artifacts from different centuries. Ancient maps, mechanical devices, letters signed by famous scientists, and one object unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. A black wooden box. The professor's face became serious. "Whatever you do," he said, "don't open that box." Naturally, Ethan wanted to know why. But before Alden could answer, every light in the chamber suddenly went out. And somewhere in the darkness, something moved. Emergency lights flickered on. Professor Alden stared at the black box. It was open. Neither of them had touched it. A cold wind swept through the chamber. Then the walls began to glow. Hidden writing appeared across the stone surfaces. Dates, names, events, thousands of them. Ethan realized he wasn't looking at ordinary writing. He was seeing records of history itself. Every major event seemed to be documented there before it happened. The archive wasn't storing the past. It was predicting the future. Alden finally revealed the truth. Decades earlier, members of the Veritas Circle had discovered a mysterious machine beneath the university. Nobody knew who built it. The machine somehow collected information from possible futures. The black box acted as its key. But there was a problem. Every time someone learned too much about the future, history changed in unpredictable ways. Entire events vanished. Memories shifted. People disappeared. The original members of the circle had hidden the machine and sealed the box to prevent anyone from using it. Unfortunately, someone else had found it. On one glowing wall, a new message appeared. "Midnight. The machine activates." Ethan checked his watch. 11:43 p.m. They had less than 20 minutes. If the machine restarted, nobody knew what might happen. Part 4. The Last Secret. Ethan and Professor Alden raced through the tunnels. The messages on the walls grew brighter with every passing minute. Finally, They reached the deepest chamber beneath the university. At its center stood an enormous bronze machine covered with gears and rotating rings. The black box floated above it. The machine was already awakening. Strange symbols spun across its surface. A countdown appeared. For minutes and 12 seconds. Alden searched through old notes while Ethan examined the controls. Then he noticed something. One panel contained a small slot shaped exactly like the brass key Alden carried. The key, Ethan shouted. Alden hesitated. If we do this, the archive may be destroyed forever. The countdown continued. 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Ethan thought about the temptation of knowing the future. Every exam answer, every discovery, every world event. Humanity could know everything. But maybe some knowledge wasn't meant to be possessed. He inserted the key. The machine roared. Light filled the chamber. For a moment, Ethan saw countless possible futures stretching into infinity. Then everything vanished. Silence. The machine stopped. The floating box crumbled into dust. The glowing messages disappeared. The archive was gone. Weeks later, construction crews renovating the dormitory discovered sealed tunnels beneath the building. Most were empty. No records of the Veritas Circle remained. No evidence of the machine existed. Only Ethan and Professor Alden remembered what had happened. On Ethan's final day at Harvard 4 years later, he returned to the basement one last time. Where the hidden door had once stood, he found a small brass plaque. It contained a single sentence. The greatest wisdom is knowing what should remain unknown. Ethan smiled and walked away. Some secrets, he realized, were valuable precisely because they stayed hidden.